Hello and welcome to BFM Spotlight. With us today is Stefan Sagmeister, the designer extraordinaire, and we will jump right into the questions. Well, Stefan, you have written that you are thinking more of engaging on social issues. What kind of social issues are you talking about? How do you assess, what is important, which social issue you want to take up?
Well, probably the one issue that we've done the most work on is for a group called Move Our Money. This is 500 CEOs in the United States that got together to basically cut the Pentagon budget by 15% and move the money over to education. Right. The reason that was important, or the reason that I thought it was a good issue, was I very much believe in it. I think that the American military budget is totally out of bounds. Right. It's $600 billion. It's way, way, way higher than anybody else's. Okay. It takes up far too much money of the government. And because 500 CEOs really had gotten together and behind the issue, I also knew it's a serious organization. There's some marketing power behind it. Right. There is, they know how to go about it. Okay. And as far as the public is concerned, when it comes to budgeting, CEOs actually have some, some believability. Okay. And so I thought that they actually have a chance to get this issue somewhere. And the way it looks right now, the military budget actually is going to be cut. So, obviously, as in everything, in anything that large, there's many reasons for that. Sure. But possibly the organization that we've worked for had played some role in it. And I'd say that would be at the extreme center of our decision-making process. One, do the people that is the cause a good one, and two, do the people that are the people behind the cause, do they have a chance to actually reach their goals? And three, does design really play a role in reaching that goal? Right. So in all three counts, I suppose you ticked all the right boxes. Yes. Yeah.
Right. So does there come a point in a designer's life when you cannot avoid politics, that you have to take a stand about something? Is that what motivated this shift and this into social issues and to work with Move Our Money? I think that I was interested in social issues all my life, so of course it's only logical that it would play some sort of role. But so far we've never really been involved in straightforward politics, meaning we never did anything like for party politics. Okay. And was that by choice?
Actually, we did get asked to do some work or to do a poster for Obama that I actually would have done happily, but it was just at the very, very end of the studio time before we went on sabbatical. Okay. And probably more importantly, at that point, the kind of voters that could possibly be swayed by a poster that we would design already voted for Obama anyway. So I didn't think that it would play a big role to actually get him elected, our poster. If I would have thought it would play a big role, I would have moved to sabbatical.
Right. Oh, yeah. Interesting. Okay. So how much of an influence can a designer have in the bigger scheme of things, as a change agent, as a to influence people, to move opinions? In general,
a huge one. It's let's say if we look around here in the studio, we look at your shirt, this piece of paper, this book, the table, the carpet, the studio itself, the building the studio is in, the street the building is in, the district the street is in, the city planning of Kuala Lumpur, every aspect, every single aspect, everything that we touch by living in Kuala Lumpur is designed. And it's, you know, I'm only stating the obvious, that of course, since our entire world is designed, the role of the designer is pretty damn important. And very, very often we only realize it when the design fails miserably. You know, like I will not realize the beauty or non-beauty of the chair that I'm sitting on, or the utility of the chair, until the leg breaks, and then I really notice it.
Right.
But of course, and it's, you know, totally part of human nature, and to take these things for granted, and we only notice them when they fail us catastrophically.
Sure. Well, in that case, you would say that, not meaning to put words in your mouth, but designers have a role to play in the public interest.
Yes.
Assuming you can define the public interest.
Yeah.
I mean, right, okay. And that has something to do with branding. Now, can you explain just what branding is? I mean, you have some strong opinions on it, I know.
I'd say that branding is a collection of different attributes of what the consumer thinks about a service or a product.
Okay.
And this collection of thoughts in the consumer's mind is, of course, by far the most influenced by the product or the service itself. And these things, the quality of the product and the quality of the service, in most cases, I know international branding companies claim differently, are not affected by what branding companies do. That's affected by what the company does. And that's by far the most important. I am absolutely convinced that it is impossible to brand a company that does a terrible product. The terribleness of the product will always win out.
Right.
It's possible only in areas where the consumer doesn't know the difference between one product or the other.
Sure.
You know?
Well, if you were to apply branding to politics and say the consumer can't quite decide between, say, different candidates, would the strategies of branding have an influence on politics?
Yes. If the candidates are extremely similar to each other and the consumer can't really tell the difference from one to another, the branding would make a big difference. But as you, for example, see now between Romney and Obama, Romney is raising much more money from his super PACs than Obama does, and doesn't seem to help him much right now. Or we've had this case in a New York mayoral race where Ronald Lauder had outspent his opponents by a multitude.
Right.
And got 1.5% of the vote.
Right, so it wasn't about money that was the amount of money that was raised.
It was not, and it was not about the amount of advertising that was run. It ultimately, if the difference is clear, that difference is going to make or break the entire campaign. Sure.
Well, about money. Interesting that you mentioned money. I know you have views about the management of money, allowing for good work, right? So what is your philosophy of money? What money will you take? What money won't you take? You know.
I mean, I think at the very center of my own studio were a couple of what you could possibly call business decisions in the very beginning. One of the main ones was that we would stay small, that we would not grow no matter what, and that maybe was the most important one, because it led to so many other things. It led to the fact that we can select clients, that as we got more famous, of course, we had many more clients that willing or wanting to work with us than we could possibly take on, which meant that we could be choosy, and which also meant that we could work for clients that we really believed in their products, which we could also then do a much better job for them than we would have if we are completely uninterested in what they do. Secondly, I always made sure that our own overhead remained very low.
Right.
So that we, that we would stay independent financially from clients, and that we wouldn't have to take on jobs just because we needed the money.
Right. So it's the opposite of scale, I guess. That's quite the mantra now. I mean, everybody's trying to go large.
I found that within the profession that I'm in, which is basically communication design, large scale is a big problem. There is no large communication design company out there that does good work.
Right.
The few ones that are out there, let's say like Pentagram, really is a conglomeration of tiny companies that are under one roof and one name, but it's the structure of 15 to 20 very small companies.
Okay.
And even when I look at the exceptions, and sometimes a very large company does some good work, then it always comes out of a small team. It's always 2 or 3 people that got that within that large company that pushed something through that was exceptional.
Right. So it's a kind of a skunk works. Okay. Well, that's something for us to think about. So, I think that's we've run out of time. So, Stefan, thank you very much. Thanks.
Welcome. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thanks.